Hey, I'm FriendlyBaron and welcome to episode 13 of my series Casual VS Speedrun in GTA 5. To start the next mission, Fresh Meat, both players need to get back to Franklin's house in Los Santos. The speedrun will get there by hanging up the forced call with Lester right away, then switching to Trevor. As Trevor, we skip the phone call quickly by pressing down multiple times, then use C4 to blow ourselves up. Just like the beginning of the last episode, we kill ourselves to progress time. Dying and going to the hospital takes about 8 hours in-game that will pass instantly in real time. That time that Trevor is technically dead gives Franklin's NPC time to drive back to the city, so the speedrun then switches to him and will be somewhere near the mission spawn. There are a few possible switches here, and the speedrun is lucky to get the best possible one right next to Franklin's house. There are some switches that are about 20 to 30 seconds away, and some worse ones that are usually 50 or so seconds away. Usually the worst switches are gotten right before the Pac-Man mission last episode, and this time you tend to get the nicer ones, and almost never get the same switch twice. The speedrun also minimizes switch risk by having gotten into the blue car at the end of Pac-Man. This Oracle is slightly worse than Franklin's Buffalo, but there's about a 50% chance Franklin would be on the green bagger motorcycle, which is much slower. So it is worth it to have gotten into the blue car, as Franklin will stay in it while we are playing as Trevor. I found that strat by accident by yet again messing around at the end of Pac-Man. I wanted to do donuts in that car while waiting for Lester's phone call, and then we realized I was in it after the switch. I've had time to explain all this because we need to wait for the Casual to arrive. He tries switching to Trevor as well, but has to pick one of them to drive down with, so they take that bike that was on the road at the end of Pac-Man and slowly head back towards Los Santos. You can't switch to Michael here, as he is the topic of this mission. Franklin will use a tracker to find where Michael is being kept hostage, then have a shootout to rescue him, and then drive Michael home. The speedrun hangs up the phone and will switch back to Franklin right away when given the option while hanging on the hook as Michael. It'd be expected that the Casual first listens to all of Lester's phone call before switching though. The weird spin that happens when switching back to Franklin always seems to occur when you are in a car, not on the motorcycle though. The speedrun will take off towards Michael right away, using Franklin's power, brake boost, and curb boost to travel quickly. This road we travel down is notoriously difficult to deal with traffic since it's only 2 lanes or less, not much of a median, and too much stuff on the sidewalk to make use of it. However, since it's nighttime for the speedrun, there is much less traffic, so it's not as bad as when we drove this road for Eye in the Sky back in episode 9. The Casual is using the tracker on the phone to head towards Michael's location. It's simple to use and doesn't take the Casual long to get to the slaughterhouse, but the speedrun knows exactly where to go already, so they don't need to even bring it up. Upon arriving, the speedrun will have their SMG prepared and take out the guys outside, plus generally one guy inside, then run in with an assault rifle to begin the shootout on foot. The speedrun will be jumping in third person to move quicker when not shooting, and swapping between weapons to instantly reload them. Every enemy in this mission is mostly the same every time you do the shootout. If you let them live for a while, they may start acting differently, but a good run takes them out before the scripted actions they do are finished. The guy in the bottom right is important to kill quickly, as he tends to turn invisible if not killed quickly, which makes it hard to shoot him. You need to use the minimap to figure out where to aim at him if that happens. The gang members who are scripted to fall into the machines or vats of liquid cannot be killed with a single headshot. They require a few shots anywhere on the body to make them fall and begin the more gruesome death. The Casual isn't fast in this shootout, but it's not too hard either. The scripted spawns make for safe kills and there's plenty of cover. The exception to the scripted death is this guy near Michael. The speedrun headshots him from far away and he just dies, instead of the cutscene of him falling onto the slicey dicey machine that the Casual watches. The speedrun just gets to throw the gun to Michael right away, and will take out the guys as soon as they spawn down this hallway and to the left. If done well, the speedrun does this whole section as Michael without having to reload the pistol. The speedrun will run, jump, and hip fire these close kills down the corridor. There is no danger of tripping over the bodies here, they have a minimal hitbox once dead. However, there are points in the run where if you try to jump over someone during their death animations, you'll trip and fall down with them. The shot to save Franklin from the slicey dicey enemy is simple. The speedrun mostly just has to wait for the forced cutscene and delay to happen before shooting. Then they'll switch back to Franklin as he's got better guns and already farther ahead. The Casual even thinks of doing the same thing to have the better gun for the rest of the shootout. There's one more scripted death left, then just a few enemies to clear. My shooting on this section for the speedrun here is not the best, but it's pretty average. I'm not sure if a viewer's untrained eye can pick it up well even, but I know I could do like 4 or so seconds better and it always annoys me, as shooting is my worst skill compared to general movement, trick timing, and driving. The speedrun will get into the cockpit, then pull out a pistol to take out the last 2 enemies. By taking them out, we won't have anyone chasing us and potentially popping tires, and have to wait for Michael to get into the car anyways. The Casual gets into the technically faster Feltzer on the left because it is orange and shiny. The reason the speedrun doesn't take that car is see on the Casual side how Michael runs all the way around the loading dock to get into the Feltzer. Any time saved by taking the Feltzer is negated by Michael's extra time spent on that long distance on foot. As well, the speedrun used a pistol to kill the last two guys instead of an SMG because the game forces your pistol into your hand as they appear, so it's best to keep the proper gun out and ready. The Casual has to deal with one car chasing since they didn't finish off the final two guys. Franklin has voice lines about outrunning them, but really they are just forced to despawn if you get close to Michael's house, or you can kill them earlier in the car like the Casual does once crashing. The speedrun takes an improved line than the one suggested by the game, again on the main kind of highway through the city we use often, which also has some good brake boost on it to get going quick. The suspension on the Coquette is pretty stiff and it's very easy to spin it out when turning near any bumpy sections. The speedrun does have an unfortunate crash when headed up the hill at the end here. The tough suspension makes this car especially hard to fly up towards Michael's house, and there's not much room besides the sidewalk on the right. Going any other spot on the road requires you to slow down much more, and no one enjoys doing that, so sometimes just going for it isn't the worst of ideas. Cars turning right are the most common crasher during runs, as they are always doing it rather suddenly. The yellow dot at the end here does not instantly stop you, so hitting the brakes helps begin the cutscene just a bit sooner. That's the end of Fresh Meat. The Casual did take 6 minutes extra to travel down from Polito for this mission, so the massive 8.5 minute difference would only be a 2.5 minute difference if not for that, but that's still quite a bit of time saved across only 5 minutes of play, thanks to driving faster once in the mission without having to use the tracker app, quickly getting through the shootout, and speeding back to Michael's house. Coming up now is Ballad of Rocco, and don't blink or you'll miss it. This is the fastest single mission in the game for the speedrun. After the cutscene of Michael decompressing in the bathroom, we'll be running downstairs to where the speedrun has one more car saved in the garage, the last one to be used from there during the run. This is the Feltzer we saved back in episode 7 during Did Somebody Say Yoga. The Casual will have to run outside into the street and get a random car, and they really don't get a great one this time. The speedrun will bounce off the wall while backing out, then the drive over to the movie lot is done exactly the same as on Mr. Richards to enter the mission cutscene. The Feltzer is nice to have as it not only saves time over a random car, but we'll be using it for the entirety of the next mission too, so having a fast and well-handling car is great. The Feltzer is one of the best as it takes bumps well in its stock form, compared to a Coquette or Infernus that may bounce around heavily in these areas. In this mission, Michael arrives at the studio to see the agent Rocco and his assistant beating up Solomon Richards because of contract negotiations gone wrong. He then asks Michael to go kill them as they drive away. We'll watch the intended gameplay on the Casual side first, getting into this conveniently located baller, then chasing them down. The Casual struggles a bit in the tight streets of the studio, then bumpy roads near the pier in this larger vehicle. If the player tries to go backwards to grab their personal vehicle, the mission fails for Rocco getting away, so the baller is really forced here. Once the player gets close to the red car, they eventually stop and start shooting at the Casual, making it very easy for them to take out the two, and that's the Casual's work done. For the speedrun, he'll just quickly take out his rifle and use Michael's ability to headshot the two in the car. It's that easy. Most guides you find on the internet will say to use a sniper, as it's better for most players, but the carbine is faster to take out and shoot with for the speedrun. The speedrun hops back into the Feltzer they came with and can begin to head to the next mission. As soon as the call from Solomon comes up, they hang up and that brings the mission pass screen. The Casual completes the call with Solomon and takes the offer to go back to his office for a mission conclusion. If the speedrun did not exit the area of the movie studio quick enough, they would actually be automatically teleported into that cutscene too. It generally only happens when you miss a few shots onto the guys in the car. So in less than a minute and a half that mission is done for the speedrun, making it the shortest and top 3 biggest difference missions compared to the Casual thanks to that quick shooting of the fleeing guys. The speedrun is well on their way to this mission, cleaning out the bureau, while the Casual has to get back into the baller and then ends up switching to a sports car they find later on. The speedrun is again on that main road we take through the city, and it's just straight from here with some various boost and most importantly, not crashing into anything to get to Lester's warehouse. Once meeting Lester, we'll drive to the FIB parking lot to tail a janitor back to his house, then follow him inside before coming back to Lester's place to end the mission. It seems so simple put like that. Going over this upcoming bridge, I like to tilt my camera to see what's coming up the other side as soon as possible. We've had runners crash many times here, and even crash into police cars, which loses quite a bit of time as you can imagine. Coming up to park, the speedrun spins the car just enough to get the driver door close to the entrance. Sliding while driving is basically never faster except when turning a car that make the characters walk less. The speedrun punches once while headed up the stairs to move faster and start the dialogue between Lester and Michael quicker. The player's car is magically moved into this parking spot for us, and we'll head over to the FIB building. The speedrun will head straight as long as they can, then make one right turn, while the casual follows the Rockstar route, which is technically shorter, but snakes the player through multiple extra turns in the city. The intersection coming up right before the park is a dangerous one for the speedrun. It is rather blind due to the large buildings on the corner, and often has a cop going across it. The safe play as seen here is to stay in the road lanes instead of all the way right, giving just a bit of extra time to react to any moving cars. Something I find important is to learn to forget the natural inclination to drive in front of a car when it begins to cross paths with you. It's almost always better to go behind a car going the other way in an intersection in this game, but you have to make that decision quickly, and most people I see playing, including myself, don't do that enough. So now, the waiting begins. Cars come out of the parking lot, and we look at them to see if it's the correct car. The speedrun zooms in right away when they come out, which starts the next dialogue line right away, and allows them to spawn every 20 seconds, oddly the same pace text messages come in. 3 cars will spawn no matter what that are the wrong car, not our janitor, then the 4th or 5th car can be the correct one. This part of the game up until we get out of the car is about 99% luck based, and there's basically nothing the speedrun can do to go faster, as along with this car spawn now, we will then have to wait at traffic lights and deal with traffic on the road the car we are following might get stuck behind. Both players are lucky with the RNG to get an early 4th car instead of waiting for the 5th, and you can now see the speedrun has saved a bit of time due to those early zooms on the license plates. The one thing the speedrun can do here is despawn traffic. If you ever watch some other GTA game speedruns, they often manipulate the camera to despawn traffic. Since GTA 5 is a newer game on better hardware, it didn't have to be so aggressive about removing vehicles from memory, so the despawns aren't a huge mechanic except in this mission. The speedrun will turn around whenever there's a vehicle in front of the follow car to hopefully despawn it so the janitor can move up to the light or not be stuck driving behind something like a bus. Moving the camera alone does sometimes despawn, but turning the car around fully makes it a bit more effective, as the game seems to expect you to begin traveling in that direction instead, so it removes cars behind us in favor of ones temporarily in front. It doesn't always work, especially if the follow car is very close to them, but it's rather effective. Before coming to record this episode, I was thinking for a meme I would make the speedrun get a run where they hit every light where the casual gets all greens. But in 5 runs of the casual, they always got the red car stuck behind traffic and or stuck for 2 cycles at a light, so the traffic despawn really makes it not possible for the casual to be faster here even when the speedrun gets terrible luck. We cannot push the red car to go faster, we can't shoot him or honk at him, we can't honk at pedestrians or NPCs, and the thing that gets suggested in my Twitch chat very often is to knock over the streetlights to stop them from working, which does not work. The game has internal timings for the stoplights, and the physical poles don't affect what the NPCs actually do. Once done waiting at all the lights, the game becomes very lenient about how close we get, and the speedrun stops early, parking next to this pole to warp out of the car. They stop with the rear of the door next to the pole to guarantee the warp, while the casual goes to park at the assigned spot. This alone does not save time, as the janitor has to walk to his apartment either way, but it allows the speedrun to get there early and prepare for the next trick, along with making it so we can warp back into the car at the end. Cars that are warped out of also leave the engine running so we can start driving right away. The speedrun scooches into a spot next to the air vent on the left, and will jump into the door just as it closes. This saves only 2 seconds or so compared to just jumping in once it's closed and tells us to go in normally. So if you jump late, not a big deal. If you jump too early though and scare the janitor, it's a 30 to 40 second time loss. So this is one of the silliest time saves we go for, but practice makes perfect. As the door squeaks is the cue to jump in while running. And that's the door jump, with the speedrun already heading out before the casual's even in. The speedrun can then teleport into the car from a pretty far distance and get going again back to the warehouse. This drive is pretty normal, just a straight shot back, don't crash on the traffic, hit a few boosts, don't crash on the light poles, and don't crash on the traffic. The casual takes the same route back after manually getting into their vehicle like a plebeian. The speedrun won't spin the car coming to a stop this time, as there is a yellow dot to stop us, so it's better to carry the speed into that. Then the speedrun again punches up the stairs and jumps to skip force sled on walking to end cleaning out the bureau. The speedrun does it 3 minutes faster than the casual for a pretty average 30% time saved, which is about how big the difference between other missions is too. Thanks to starting the mission quickly, driving fast, that amazing door skip, and better luck during the stoplight part did help, but despawning the cars definitely plays a role there, so I'd expect the speedrun to always be faster. It just might vary how much by. Reuniting the family introduces a new mechanic which has been allowed into the run since after I began making this series called save warping. The speedrun will make a new save file from the phone, then load it from the menu. While in the load screen, the speedrun holds a hotkey for any character they are able to switch to that is not the current character, so here we usually just hold Franklin's button, then release it right as the game loads back in. The game will load in a slightly unloaded state, then teleport us to the current character's safe house, so Michael's mansion here. This save warp saves 30 seconds over the drive the speedrun would do otherwise, again with the car that was used during the last 2 missions, and then they can just run straight outside into the marker to start the mission. This will be the third and final time we get into Michael's car along with Jimmy, and this time there's no way to make him move faster. We just have to wait for him to get in at a slow walk. Remember, in previous missions we can make him run by honking or running wide to get him to follow. It's kinda silly how inconsistent it is. In this mission, we'll drive with Jimmy to meet Amanda, then drive over to the tattoo parlor to give Laszlo a makeover, then drive to therapy with the family, then drive back home. Quite a bit of driving. Approaching this first marker, the speedrun won't go into the road but instead crash into this potted plant, and make the inputs the jump just as we get out allows us to skip forced sled-on walking into the patio. Then it's another jump back into the car to get driving again while the casual is still arriving. We'll fast forward this drive as it's the usual, just a few boosts on the straight road and traffic isn't too heavy. Once arriving at the tattoo parlor, the speedrun will drive straight up to the door. There is no actual requirement to go to the yellow dot on the side that the casual does. It's a good thing nobody parks like this in real life. Once inside, the speedrun just mashes buttons. There's a couple of prompts for selecting what to do to Laszlo, and the casual takes time to look at them, but you do them all so it doesn't matter what is picked when. However, there is one part that matters, drawing the penis. I've synced up the playthrough so you can witness the majestic artistic skills of the speedrun drawing the male genitalia onto Laszlo, a whole 4.3 seconds faster than the casual. Then a few more button mashes and we're out the door and back to driving. Also, when the speedrun jumps and falls here, that was a mistake. Usually I don't jump there. It doesn't really lose time since Amanda and Jimmy walk slow anyways, so it stays. This drive down to the beach is now nothing too special, just more of the same comparison. So I want to talk about save warps a bit more since that was the first time it was in the run, and they have been a bit divisive in the community. Save warps were banned from the speedrun for quite a while. Strats such as killing yourself 3 times to skip a mission or using taxis to warp around the map are banned, as the main category called Classroom Percent in GTA 5 is kind of designed to make the game play like what it would be for any normal player, like a casual. It's partly where I was inspired to start making this series. I love GTA 5 speedrun because it is so different from other runs, and doesn't involve tons of weird glitches or warping around the map quickly, so it's really easy to follow as a viewer especially. Save warps are only used 3 times or so, do cut the run down though it's long anyways, and do remove a bit of RNG from the run, but in my opinion also remove some skilled driving sections, force the player to interact with the often laggy menu which is not otherwise done in the run, and start to break that flow of the speedrun looking just like a skilled player instead of a more traditional speedrun. It is just my thoughts there, but another argument for save warps is that viewers would enjoy them more, so I'm curious to see what anyone may have to say about them, and hopefully head off any basic questions about how save warping impacts the run I might otherwise get. Back to the run, the speedrun is going to jump off the ledge here to fly towards the therapy location. There might be a car where we land, but there isn't too often, and it's still worth it as you can just zip right into the driveway, instead of going all the way down and around like the casual. After the therapy cutscene, the speedrun heads into oncoming traffic and drives back up the hill in this specific section, as it's wide enough and smooth enough to go up as long as we carry speed. From that, it's just the same drive back to Michael's house to end the mission, as the casual takes the highway and suggested roads. Due to the save warp to start the mission faster, driving better to Amanda, driving better to that tattoo parlor, drawing a reproductive organ faster, jumping into the driveway and coming back up the hill quicker, the speedrun finishes in about 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes faster than the casual. The casual is nearing 8 hours of gameplay while the speedrun is only at 5 hours played or so. Since this is a segmented run for the speedrun, he's currently 5 minutes ahead of world record as of recording this, which really just shows how much potential we have to continue improving our actual runs. Hey, congrats! You just watched my whole video! If you aren't subscribed already, you can check out all my other videos on my channel or in the description, and if you like them, a sub to my YouTube channel really helps. Thanks. If you already are subscribed, then spend that time sending a nice message to another YouTuber, because let me tell you, you need a lot of nice messages that outdo the few hateful ones. They always sting. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Is this fine? Yeah. Yeah. Didn't put children in this game? Yeah, because otherwise people would kill them. Have you seen Skyrim? People really try and kill the oh god, oh god. Well, that could have gone. I'm the taco truck. I'm the taco truck now. Stole its topper.